Hey everybody, it's Brian Kenny. It's MLB Now, home edition, and we welcome back to the program. It is always a pleasure to talk baseball with Yankee broadcaster Suzyn Waldman. Suzyn, Brian Kenny here. It's great to have you back on the show.
Oh, great to see you, and I know you're firmly ensconced in quarantine and healthy, and it's great to see your face, Brian.
It's good to see you too. You're doing well? Everything's good?
Everything's good. Everything's good as it can be, right?
Let me get your perspective on all this again. You're 34 years as a Yankee broadcaster. You've been through and have covered when the labor issues were big in Major League Baseball. It's kind of like been in the background for, I don't know, a decade or nearly two. What's your view on the way things are now with them trying to get a deal together to play this season?
Well, you know, I was around when when I remember Don Fehr and Gene Orzer trotted all the baseball players into what I think was the Doral Hotel on Lexington and 50th Street and brought in Marvin Miller. I've seen 2 or 3 of these already. So when I hear all this vitriol and anger, I just go, oh, okay. All right. Just wake me over when we get down to the nitty gritty of it and let me know what you decide, because I can't believe that this is going to go on. And I've seen it too many times. And, you know, no one could spew vitriol like the Players Association in the old days. And to go through that before and see it always gets done, I would be shocked if this did not get done and the reason they didn't play was money. Health is another thing. I just can't believe that they will let this go. There's just too much at stake for both sides. So we're listening to all of this, and let me know when you want to get serious and really get down to it.
It seems that way, in that the way they did the first deal was like, wow, that was great. It seemed like everybody understood the gravity of the situation. We're in this business together, and they came through very quickly. I guess, I don't know, got spoiled by that. But I'm with you. It seems like there's a lot at stake to, if everything is going in this direction, that they get out there on the field at some point this year.
Yeah, I just think they're going to get it. It might not be July 1st or it might not be July 4th like they want, but it's going to get done. There's just too much at stake. And the ease of which it happened before, I think the reality of what you didn't get for the owners. I think the reality of rights fees and television money and et cetera, and how do we pay our people past May 31st? I think that reality set in and the owners came up with something else. But I think when push comes to shove, you know they're going to get it done. Is there ever been a time when they haven't? We had that dumb strike in '94. We had the stuff in the '80s. I mean, how many more times can people be driven away from this sport and keep coming back?
Right. It would be a very bad thing at this point, especially. You said July 1st, and that's one of Derek Jeter's signature games. And this weekend, it'll be a Derek Jeter weekend on MLB Network. You've covered him through his entire career. And Suzyn, how about it's 25 years this coming weekend since he made his debut. 25 years since that skinny kid was up there playing shortstop.
It's amazing. And a lot of us go back even further with that. And as a matter of fact, we were doing some stuff on WFAN, and I called people like Rob Thompson and Brian Butterfield and Buck Showalter, guys who were with Jeter in Greensboro. Greensboro was the year that he made the 56 errors and all that. And to watch him from there, because we all know about Derek Jeter, and everybody watched him all the way up. And when Buck Showalter finally brought him up in '95, and I believe it was in Seattle, and up comes this kid, and you knew where he was, but he was the same kid when I met him when he was 18, when he walked in and was signed and was sitting between his parents on the bench in the dugout. Same kid then as he was when he was in Columbus, when I had him on the air, when he came up, and when he retired. Same human being, the whole 25 and more than that years. And that, I think, is one of the most remarkable things about Derek Jeter.
Yeah, his obviously one of the all-time great offensive shortstops, one of the greatest shortstops in history. Yet you're right, Suzyn. I even think of, even when I saw him after he was voted in and he came over to the network, what flashed in my mind is his comportment, like handling himself. I think of like Wayne Gretzky or Cal Ripken,
right?
People who understood who they were and handle themselves beautifully. Because how difficult, can you imagine it be? You saw him up close, being Derek Jeter in New York all those years and staying that same person.
You know, it became never said a wrong thing, never did a bad thing, never did a wrong thing, ever. In 20 years, the thing I think you're describing, Derek Jeter, more than anything to me, he not only knew who he was not afraid to fail. And when you are not afraid to fail, you don't play defensively. You don't play from behind the eight ball. He's not playing not to make an out. He's playing to do something positive. There's a very big difference between that and what you see with most people. And to be able to play like that, not afraid to fail, even when he made the 56 errors, even when he went 0 for 32, he never changed, because he was not afraid to do that, because he knew eventually he would come out of that. I saw it at the beginning. I saw it even when they sent him down and he and Mariano were whatever crying at one of the restaurants when they were sent down. You knew that he was going to be back, and you give that whole group of coaches, particularly Buck Showalter, who did a lot for that whole group, bringing him up in '95 to sit on the bench during the playoffs so that they would get a taste of what that was like. He and Posada, and I just thought he was never any different, and obviously that helped him with bottom of the ninth, man on third, 2 outs, tie game. What happens? How many times did we see Derek Jeter come through? Joe Torre used to say he had a slow heartbeat. To me, that just meant he was focused and he wasn't afraid to fail. So more times than not, he did not fail.
We're going to run on the network 13 signature games. And I mentioned July 1st. It's one of my favorite Jeter games. It was the game with Nomar. It was Red Sox, Yankees, Nomar bagged out. And Jeter later, this didn't help Nomar, who's a great guy, as well, but didn't help him. Jeter does the dive into the stands and smashes his face and catches the ball in extra innings. Amazing. Give me a game that stands out for you, Suzyn.
Oh, I can't, but I see I'm a very emotional person, as you know. The 3,000th hit game I thought was one of the most extraordinary things I've ever seen. The 5 for 5 and the home run, and just the way he looked at his parents in the box, just those kinds of moments. Obviously, all the home runs in the World Series and the big hits, and even the last at bat he had at Yankee Stadium after David Robertson blew the save. Was there any doubt that Derek Jeter was going to win that game at his last at bat at the stadium? And that day was as emotional a game for him as he's ever played. Evidently, he forgot his batting gloves. He was emotional in the bathroom. It was just a untypical Derek Jeter day, and he came through. And it's all those World Series, and it's all those. You can't pick a game. This is diving into the stands. There's the big home runs. Obviously, there's the flip play. There are all kinds of those things. But it's just who he was. I remember Roger Clemens once said to me, with all the stuff about Jeter, if I'm up there and there are 2 outs and the bases are loaded in the ninth, I want Derek Jeter at shortstop. And Joe Torre said, and if it's the bottom of the inning, I want him up with 2 outs and the bases loaded. He was just that kind of person his whole career. From the first game that he played when he came up in '96, when he wasn't supposed to be there probably, till the way he went out. It was always the same.
One last thing, Suzyn. Now, Jeter was being inducted into the Hall of Fame this summer. That has been postponed. It'll happen next year. Your thoughts on that? This was going to be the biggest one ever. I wonder if by the time we get around to next year, it can still be the biggest one ever.
Well, why not? Maybe it'll even be bigger, because there are people that will have waited a year to do that. I don't think so. By the time, it'll slow down for a little while. And next year, if everything is getting back to normal, and please let's all pray that happens. There's no reason why it can't build up again. Obviously, Derek Jeter is always going to be Derek Jeter. What he means to the people in New York is never going to change. It's never going to change. And I don't see why it can't be as big or bigger. Just give us a little more time to get used to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it more than a year away. Suzyn, stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you out there. I guess no fans to start when it does, and you'll be ready to broadcast, right? You're ready. You got time to study.
From wherever it is, whatever we're doing, off a screen in an empty stadium, whatever it is. Listen, we're just going to pretend if it's off a studio thing and off a monitor. Remember when you were little and used to, talk along with Mel Allen or Kurt Gowdy or Bob Prince? We'll just pretend that we're doing that, right?
Right. Maybe in the back you go, and the pitch. Oh, a base hit. Old school. All right, Suzyn, great talking with you again, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Take care.
I hope so. Take care, BK.